You're watching Adorama TV.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Adorama TV. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, this week we want to look at this camera. It's the Canon EOS Rebel T3i, and in Europe it's called the EOS 600D. It's a phenomenal camera. Years ago, decades ago, when I got my first camera to go overseas, it was actually a Rebel, and I could only dreamed what it would be like to have this Rebel with me back then. This camera is pretty phenomenal. So let me go through some of the features of this camera, and then you can see why it's such a value. This guy sells for about $900, and that includes the whole kit. So it comes with the camera and the lens. This is an image stabilized lens that will allow you to do landscape photography and even portraits. So it's an 18 to 55 millimeter image stabilized lens. So a great value of camera and the lens itself. Well, there's some other things that this allows you to do. On the back, there's this LCD screen that pops out like this. And the nice thing is, once you have that out, it allows you to use what's called live view. And you can hit this little button, and now you're actually seeing on this LCD screen everything that's coming in through the lens. And so because this thing sort of moves around, you can put the camera way up high and look through there, or really down low, and you can get all kinds of different unusual points of view, which is great when you're shooting kids and animals and doing vacation photos. You can really get that camera down right at the eye level of your kids and dogs and cats and that kind of stuff. Or if you want, you can just flip this around and put it right on the back of the camera, and so you're seeing it a little bit more what you would normally see on a camera. And of course, you can always use the normal viewfinder, putting that right up to your eye and looking through the lens, just like an SLR is made to do. And so that's very, very flexible. The thing that I really like about this camera is it's built for beginning photographers and intermediate photographers. And so it's a camera that you can use right out of the box, not having any experience with an interchangeable lens SLR camera, and you can keep it for years because it'll really grow with you. And just going through all the different menus and settings and things that you can do with this camera, I was really impressed, because it's really not a beginner's camera as far as the functionality goes. It has a lot of features that you'll find on a much higher end camera. So let's walk through a few things it can do for you. Now, probably the most significant thing that this camera does that sets it apart is that it can shoot full 1080p high definition video. And so if you want to shoot some home movies or vacation video, you don't have to take a separate camera along with you. You don't have to. This guy, there's just a little dial over here, and you put it on movie mode, and that's about it. You do that, push this little button right here, and you're filming video. And the nice thing is this has a full HDMI output on it, so you can plug that into your television. It will record to a card, so you can take that card out, throw it into iMovie or Windows Movie Maker, and you can edit those movies right on your home machine, and you're not going to have any problems doing that. So this is a video camera as well as a still photography camera. Let's talk about some of the features of the still photography camera, because that's really the heart of this camera. One of the things I really like about this guy is there's this little button right here that says Q. Now what that does, it's a quick menu. And so you can push this button, and then right after pushing that, you can choose different things like how the autofocus is working, or white balance, or the picture style, or how the camera's doing auto correction of exposure, or what the file size is, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about diving into a menu. You can just push this little button right here and go straight to the things that you use most, which is a real time saver. The other thing that's really nice about this camera are the modes that it has built in. So it's got all the standard modes that you would have for a camera of this caliber. So you've got portrait mode, you've got scenic mode, macro mode, sports, night photography, and movie mode. So all of those are here. But then you've got some creative modes. So you can take, instead of being on full auto, you can put it on mostly auto and then override those settings to get maybe the look that you want. And so it helps you grow as a photographer. And then as you become more proficient in your photography skills, there are the full manual settings and aperture priority, shutter priority, and program mode that are found in high-end professional cameras, which is really nice. And if you just want a camera that you take out of the box and start shooting, you don't want to learn any of that stuff, you just want to take pictures, well, there's this little A+, this little green dial here that does all of the settings for you and does a really nice job of that. So you can grow with this camera, or if you wanted, you can just yank it out of the box and start shooting, just turn it on and it's ready to go. So the another nice thing about this camera that I really like is it's built for people to learn about photography. So, it comes with a guide that shows you all the different things you need to know about the camera, and it has all the different dials and switches and specifications and all of those types of things. And this is a pretty well written manual, but if you don't want to have to go through this book, it's about 300 pages. Well, Canon includes some things like this guy here, which is Flash Classroom, and it shows you how to get some great shots of your family and kids. So you can go through here and it will show you, here's some things that you do, and it's really written so it's easy to understand. So here's how you do food photography, and here's how you take pictures of your birthday cake, and maybe here's some stuff that you do when you're taking pictures of toys and kids, and here's how you can balance the flash so it doesn't look like you're in a really dark room, outside and inside shots. And it has really nice instructions to help you out with flash photography. And the same thing is true of stuff like this, do more with macro. And this one I think is my favorite. It's great photography is easy. And so if you think it's hard, it's really not. And this has an actual guide that will show you how to get different results and learn how to use the camera in a much more user-friendly way. And when you combine all these books with Adorama TV and all the lessons that we bring to you, and you grab your camera, in no time you're going to know how to use this camera and really get great results when shooting your family or shooting senior portraits or vacation photos or scenics or whatever you're shooting. You'll be able to do that with this camera. So there you have it. It is the Canon EOS Rebel T3i. Again, it's $900. It's a camera that is built from the ground up for people that really want to dig in and learn photography and then use a camera that's going to last them for years, and that's what you'll get out of this camera. Well, that's it for this week of Adorama TV. Remember, if you have a product that you'd like me to review, you can send your suggestions to me at askmark@adorama.com, and we just might use your suggestion on an upcoming episode. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Remember to join me again next week. We'll have more good information just for you.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center, where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store, located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.